it's been some weeks since I've done a video update here on the channel, and that's because I've been prioritizing time with family, starting back over the holidays. Also had a crazy busy season at work and some travel on top of it. But the JT build has not stopped. My buddy Jim and my buddy Alec and I, we've been super busy keeping that build rolling, and I'm excited today to bring you guys an update on where we're at. Hey everybody, welcome to 4x Trail. I'm Caleb, and it's great to be back with you today in this video. I'm out here in Joshua Tree currently. My wife and I are getting some much needed time away, and I'm doing some hiking up here in the rocks, and wanted to give you guys a quick update on the JT build. I've got a lot of footage I've been taking in the shop that we're going to show you here in a minute. It's coming along really well, and excited. We're kind of getting near the end, where the end is in sight. So today I want to catch you up on what we've done so far, how it's gone, what are my thoughts on the parts that we're putting on, and how it's shaping up. It all starts right now. Now that's the way to jack up a Jeep. Whew. So a few months back, I backed the Gladiator into my buddy Jim's shop, and we settled in for what would be a pretty long build process. You know, this is not what I do full-time, and so nor is it what Jim does full-time. So he was gracious enough to open up his shop and let me move in for a few months while we dove in to this extensive build. You know, I learned a lot from what I did on my Wrangler, and I kind of had to do some things twice. And coming up on, if I continue to build that thing out, there's going to be things I have to do 3 times as far as redoing things to make it what it needs to be. And so with the JT, I wanted to start differently. I wanted to plan out, budget out everything that we need to kind of start right the first time, which is definitely a different approach than what I did with my Wrangler. Both approaches can work, but it is helpful when you have the forethought to say, okay, I want to not do this or that. I want to focus on doing this the right way, even if it meant waiting and saving up and making sure that we had the budget for it the first time. So that's the approach I took with the JT. It's also super helpful having my buddy Jim, who has done a lot of this stuff to his JKU. His JKU is an absolute monster, and he's done all that work himself. So things like long arms, hydro steering, things that I hadn't done on the Wrangler, and so having that experience was really helpful for him to be in the shop with me. How about that?
So this big car has a bed.
It has a bed, doesn't it? That's like the Jeep truck, huh?
Because it's a dirt truck.
Sway bar clears the 60.
No.
Yeah, I bet you this is different.
I think the Terraflex kit comes with a new one. New sway bar in the back.
Made for a 60? See,
don't know.
that's the difference, because
Yeah.
you're changing a lot.
Now, Jim doesn't have a 4-post lift, but we do have some incredible jacks from our friends at Pro Eagle. They were super generous to send us an extra one even just for this build. And a big shout out to Pro Eagle off-road jacks. Their equipment is incredible, super high quality. It honestly made this project very easy to do without a lift. Just having the silky smooth jacks that roll around super easy. They got the big off-road tires. We made quick work of pulling components off of the JT, in part thanks to these Pro Eagle jacks. So we pulled the basics, spare tire, bumpers, things like that, and got that stuff out of the way. And then Jim and I got the rear axle pulled out, rear suspension off, yep, arms off, disconnected the brake lines, and all that good stuff. Jim, I wouldn't mind just a hand on this axle. It's shifted again, like probably 2 or 3 inches up. I don't know why it keeps. It needs to stabilize. That is so nice. So before we actually got to cutting off the stock bracketry, we did have to remove the exhaust system as well. And my buddy Alec and I did that one night. There it is.
Okay. It's almost, oh dude. Okay. It's so close. It's literally like dragging on the top.
Oh. It took some patience to get it worked around the frame and the skid plates and all that stuff to get it out of there. We had to take it apart piece by piece and remove the sensors as we get towards the headers. We had to remove the full exhaust system. We have succeeded in removing the exhaust of the Gladiator.
We win.
Woo! Oh. No Fiat truck's gonna beat us tonight. And that's because when we're getting in there later to cut off the brackets up front and just some other things we got to do, the space is really needed. So you do have to remove that full exhaust system, which we did. And with that removed and the rear axle and suspension removed, it was time to get to work cutting off these brackets. Cutting, grinding, cutting some more, grinding some more, and getting these stock brackets in the rear all off and cleaned up, primed and painted, and ready to install the new brackets. This setup that I'm using from TerraFlex is a complete suspension, 4.5-inch suspension and long arm setup. It's called the RT4 Alpine suspension setup for the JT, and it is a bolt-on long arm kit. I was a little skeptical at first of what this kit would be because it is a new product, but I gotta say I've been really impressed with the quality of this kit so far. It was a good feeling when we got the new brackets installed in the rear, torqued down, cross-checked, and slid that new rear Dana 60 in. And again, big shout out to Pro Eagle. Look how easy these two jacks made putting this Dana 60 in with one person. It's pretty crazy. We just strapped that axle down and Jim was able to slide it in pretty much by himself, which I think is really impressive.
Almost home right there.
Woo! Let's go. Man, you could start to see the vehicle taking shape at that point, and it was super cool. And I was like, okay, let's go. Now that I can see how this is going to look, with the 40s on there. I'm like, man, this thing is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. And it was good motivation to keep going because we were heading into the front end of the vehicle, which wasn't exactly rinse and repeat. The front end is definitely more involved. And so it was a good kind of boost to say, okay, we can do this. And we began diving into the front. The front end was, once we got everything torn out, it was similar to the rear, just a little more involved on some of the bracketry. But we got all that done, got the new brackets on, torqued down, cross-checked, and then we dove into the hydro steering setup. And again, we used Driving Line's video. He's got a great video on this exact hydro steering setup for his JT. I kind of used that to follow, but we had to pull a lot of stuff off the front of the engine, a lot of the accessories to get down to the belt, get that belt off, and we even had to remove one of the motor mounts, which is crazy. You got to jack up the motor a little bit, be really careful, make sure there's the right clearance on top of the block so you don't, there's a sensor on the driver's side that can easily get knocked if you don't pull it before jacking up the motor. But yeah, we had to pull a motor mount because PSC gives you a new motor mount on the passenger side that has a built-in bracketry for the new pulley for the pump. And so yeah, it's a decently involved process, but just diving in and being patient and diligent and getting all that stuff done, making sure you get all the bolts back in that need to be in, label everything, make sure you don't forget anything, because this is some vital stuff up here when you're dealing with your engine and steering components. We pretty much have the hydro steering setup done on the engine side, and I will say PSC makes some great stuff. The quality of these components is top-notch. I feel really good about using this system, and hopefully the next video we're going to be sliding in the front axle and I have a new 2.5 ton tie rod and drag link from Fusion 4x4. It's an aluminum tie rod and drag link, and we can then make the connection for the hydro steering to the tie rod and all that good stuff. So that's all kind of coming soon, but the front axle should be going in, suspension, long arms in the front, bolted up. That's going to be great to have the vehicle under its own weight. And then we still have a decent amount of work. There is some welding that's needed for the hydro steering on the axle side that we are not going to do. So I'm going to save that for a shop. We'll talk more about that in the future probably, but getting the vehicle under its own weight is going to be the next big milestone here. And then we can dive into bumpers, winch, skid plates, some final details, things that we'll cover hopefully in the next video or two. But stay tuned for that. And thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you want to see on this build, like featured, or if you have questions, hit me up in the comments. I'd love to talk to you there in the comments, and we'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching.